And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, a real estate and finance expert, and goes to bat for you every day as your consumer advocate. Your host, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again, another day committed to picking a fight with the mainstream media and providing you the timely truth centered around your real estate, credit, finance, home remodeling, estate planning, tax planning, mortgage advice, and so much more. You're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show, where our number one goals are to entertain, educate, enlighten, and engage you in an effort to help you win in any marketplace.
The only thing I'm addicted to right now is winning.
Now, I want you to pull out your smartphone and save our consumer advocate hotline number in your phone. It's 813-917-1894.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
813-917-1894.
Baby, don't forget my number.
And we also want you to bookmark our website, realestateradiotampa.com. That's our website, blog site, a plethora of information available there. Links to all of our expert contributors, the finest folks, again, in all of Tampa Bay and the Gulf Coast region of Florida. Finest folks here in Tampa Bay that want to help you win in any marketplace. You can also watch the show live stream as well by clicking on the live stream link. And all of our listings from Platinum MVP Realty. This segment is brought to you by my health team, consisting of Michael Vogt. He's an expert massage therapist here in Tampa Bay, helping people with neck, back, shoulder, hip, and leg pain feel better. Over at 3750 Gun Highway, suite number 106 in Tampa. Back in Health Massage. Michael Vogt voted top 10 massage services in Tampa Bay by the readers of the Tampa Bay Business Journal's Best in the Biz Awards. And also giving a shout out to Ray Milton with Ray's Vegan Soul, where I'll hit you with a flavor. That's Ray's tagline. He's going to hit you with a flavor, these awesome organic meals that he will deliver to you, your home or office. I love to carry them around with me during the day. That way I'm not pulling into these fast food restaurants. I'm feeding my body with awesome high energy fuel, and I'm able to maintain the health. What else do you have in this world if you don't have your health? So shout out to my health team over there, and also giving a shout out to the maids. They are referred for a reason, the official cleaning partner of the Real Estate Quarterback Show. And we're going to go around the horn here, make our introductions, and we're also going to talk about Bob Buckhorn proposes $906 million Tampa budget. We're going to talk about that and some of the tax implications to property owners here in Tampa Bay. So go around the horn here, make our introductions. Jason Avery, Avery Construction, and author of Constructing Success. Welcome back in.
Thanks, Brandon. I'm glad to be here.
Excellent. Awesome.
Man, it's been an eventful week out there. And last night we had BNI, Business Networking International's member extravaganza, a couple hundred people in the room. We're going to have tonight TBBO, the Tampa Bay Business Owners, Christmas in July, another few hundred people in the room.
Yep.
And even got a book signing coming up. Can't wait to share with you all.
Awesome. Let's get into it. And then also Curt Lorden in studio as well, well-respected branch manager here, Interlinc Mortgage, and mortgage expert here locally in Tampa Bay. Welcome back in.
Thanks, Brandon. I'm actually super excited about this show. My man Barry Habib is going to be on. Looking forward to that. And we'll talk about why they're calling for another housing bubble. They're actually rooting for it. Interesting.
Well, let's see what that's all about. And let's go ahead and bring our expert contributor call in on the phone. We asked Mr. Barry Habib. He's a mortgage and finance expert, and we asked him to call in and give us an update. Things happening out there in the marketplace. Barry, you there, sir?
I sure am. I'm listening to you guys. Thank you so much for the kind words. Man, I love Interlinc, and thank you for having me on. You guys do such a great job with the show.
Awesome. Yeah, we appreciate that. And let's jump right into it. There's Barry, I think, there's so many geopolitical things happening out there. Terrorism, you got all this negativity, sensationalism in the news, and of course we're stuck in this 24/7 nauseating election cycle. What do you think is important for people to know, and maybe pull out your crystal ball, give us a little prediction of what you see happening in the economy in the next 6 to 8 months in a year?
Well, there's a lot of things that are going on and a lot of things to watch. Certainly the election is going to be very important depending on who you're polling for and what you believe in and where you they usually say where you stand depends on where you sit, right? So I think that's going to be an important factor certainly for where we go. Without getting too political, Trump will probably be a little bit friendlier towards business and economic growth. Clinton will be a little bit more the status quo, where things will be a little bit more litigious, a little bit more regulated, and you could pick and choose whichever one you think is better. But if you're pro-business, if you like to see the economy move, Trump's more than likely going to be better. But there's external forces too. A lot going on in Europe, a lot going on in Asia. They're really struggling. 40% of the world's debt is negative. There's no inflation out there to speak of right now in the global markets. Maybe we get a little bit of some here, and these are things that we have to watch out for. I think the stock market's a little bit overvalued, and if you want a crystal ball on rates, I think what we're going to be looking at is in the next, I know you said 6 months, but if we would stretch that horizon out to say, let's say 12 to 18 months, I think it's very likely that we have a potential recession here in the United States. What that means is that interest rates will go way down, even lower than they are today, and we'd probably see real estate hold up pretty well. But in the interim, I think we're kind of stuck in a range in interest rates where they're going to be great. They're not going to go up very much. They're not going to go down very much from this level. We'll probably be there throughout the rest of the year. So that's good news. But I think if we see a recession, you probably see an opportunity for rates to really drop significantly.
Yeah, good point. I think one of the things that we typically talk about over a 10-year cycle, you have these different, if you look historically over the stock market and the economy in general, we had Y2K, we had the issue with the computers, are they going to turn to zero or is 999 it? Then we had the '08 meltdown. Now, typically, what a lot of experts will say is that there's an expected third bubble. And I almost think, kind of, piggybacking on what you said there, that it's going to be related to this printing money. Every country's printing money. There's this effect of, the manipulating their earnings and their stocks in terms of, as far as the currency exchange. So do you think that's a factor there, Barry?
Well, you bring up some very good points, and you are correct. I think that one of the things I'm reading between the lines of what you're saying is that the economies are cyclical, so you hit the nail right on the head. It's a great observation by you, and the thing that we have to remember is that is there going to be a recession? With 100% confidence, yes. The question is, when does it happen? Mm-hmm. Are there going to be bubbles? With 100% certainty, yes, but what areas are going to be bubbles and when's it going to happen? If we speak specifically on the points that you brought up, which is it going to happen, let's just say, maybe in the stock market or in the bond market? Well, if we take a look first at the stock market, look, right now, stocks are very expensive. Let's face it, they're very overvalued. Mm-hmm. They're due for a pullback. We have not had a bear market in a very long time. It's the second longest bull market in history. And a bear market's categorized by a pullback of 20% or more. So it's kind of overdue, just like, we're in baseball season when a hitter's normally a good hitter and they go 0 for like 15, they're due. So we're kind of almost getting to the point where a pullback would not surprise me at all. In fact, with earnings as high, and you even mentioned manipulating the price-to-earnings ratios. Yes, companies are buying back their own stock at record paces. All that does is optically makes your price-to-earnings ratio look better. You really should be reinvesting that money in acquisitions, in R&D, in growth, but they have no way to do that. So what they're doing is they're buying back their own stock or giving it as dividends. They're just buying back their own stock and making their multiples look prettier, so it pushes the stock price artificially higher. So these are warning signals, in my opinion, and I think that it's very smart if you just kind of take a few chips off the table or play some defensive things like UVXY or SH, which are just, you would benefit if the stock market declined to some extent. So I would hedge your bets. I'd be a little more careful. Now, regards to the bubble in the bond market, if we get inflation, it's going to be tough for bond prices at these levels because their yields are so darn low. You'd have to see yields rise if we get inflation. The thing of it is, there's no forces economically for inflation, but there is something to watch out for towards the end of the year. One of the drivers to keep inflation low has been the relative change in oil prices on a year-on-year basis. So if you compare oil prices today to where they were a year ago, they're a little bit cheaper than where they were a year ago. That helps bring inflation down. Now, if we go back a few months, we were looking at oil prices here at like $30 or $40, but a year ago it was $100. So that was really keeping inflation low and helping rates. As we get to the end of this year, oil prices, let's just say they stay in this range of $45 to $50, but you'd be comparing them to like $40 from a year ago. So that will actually nudge inflation higher. Bond market won't like that. The last bubble, if we have time to just mention, is the housing bubble that people keep talking about. I've got to tell you, and we should take some time and talk about this when you'd like, but I think the housing market is exceptionally strong, will continue to be strong, and the people that are talking about housing bubble are completely out of their mind.
Yeah, you're right. No, you're right. Absolutely. Why don't we do this? Let's. We got about a minute left in this segment. When we come back, I want to get your take on that. Also, I want to have Curt Lorden talk about an article that he just recently saw, kind of calling for that. And then I also want to draw your attention as well and kind of break it down, because a lot of what we talk about is on a macro level. I want to break it down to Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater, Bradenton, Sarasota a little bit more local for our listeners here, and kind of bring that as well.
Can I tell you something about the Tampa area? Because I'm very familiar with each market around the country. We do examine that. You guys are sitting on some great stuff. So first of all, forecasted appreciation over 7% for the next year, but it's expected to continue. Your job market, you're creating jobs at a very rapid pace. In fact, you're like at the best pace it's been in several years. So your jobs are really strong. You've got very tight supply.
Let's save that, Barry. We're coming in and a hard break here. I want Barry to talk about that when we come back. So stay with us. You're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show. Expert contributors here in studio, and more on the macro and micro economies here in Tampa Bay when we come back. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back.
Enjoy tranquil seclusion in an eco-lover's paradise. Paddling through the mangroves where the only sounds you'll hear are the sounds of nature. Because you deserve to relax on vacation, visit Pasco County, Florida.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, host of the Real Estate Quarterback Show, owner of Platinum MVP Realty here in Tampa Bay. I'm a top listing agent, featured in Florida Realtor Magazine multiple times, recognized for innovations with marketing, helping our sellers profit more on the sale of their real estate properties. In studio, we're going to hear from Jason Avery, owner of Avery Construction, author of Constructing Success, as well as Curt Lorden. He's the branch manager at Interlinc Mortgage. And on the phones, we're talking with Barry Habib, mortgage and finance expert, and appeared on multiple Fox Business, all these different types of nationally syndicated news shows. So we're getting some perspective here. We wanted to talk to Barry. So Barry, floor is yours. We want to go back into where you left off.
Tampa market specifically, really strong. Job creation's really strong. Tight inventory, big-time supply restrictions, but the demand is very strong. You've got, demographically, you've got a lot of young people coming into the home buying marketplace. So you guys are going to do just great. I mean, if you could find a house, because I know inventory is tight, you wait a few years, you'll be very pleased when you look in the rearview mirror. That Tampa market's doing great. Now, look, you guys already know this, but for the listeners out there, I mean, I was the first one to call the turn in the housing market right on CNBC. It's all on tape. It's all on video. And everybody thought the housing market was not going to turn. I called the bottom of it December 2011, before Trump, before Buffett, before everybody. And then they brought me back on. They gave me a lot of credit for being the first one to call it. And there's still people that have been negative on it. For 5 years, people have been negative on the housing market, and they've been wrong for a lot of reasons that they just don't understand. At the end of 2015 was the first time in a decade that household formations exceeded household completions. What does that mean? A household formation is when, if you're living at home, you go out and you get your own place, whether it's buying or renting, or if you're a couple that's together in a house and you split up and now instead of one roof over your head, you need two. That's a formation. For the first time exceeded homes being put on the market, new homes being built. So that's why supply is so darn tight. You can't find a home. Do you know that existing homes are flying off the shelves? It's the time to sell a home from the time it's put on the market, 32 days.
Yeah.
We haven't seen that in forever. It is a very strong, healthy housing market right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why we want to offer this as well to all the listeners out there that might be on the fence. If you're thinking about potentially selling a home, we'd love to offer you a free home valuation. For the first 5 listeners who text the word value to our hotline, we're going to give you a free comparable market analysis. Basically the same thing that you pay $500 for an appraisal, we're going to give it to you for free. Compliments of Platinum MVP Realty. Text value to 813-917-1894. We're going to give you a free comparable market analysis on your home. And I want to let Curt ask a question as well. Curt?
I'm going to do that, by the way. I think that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, right.
So Barry, I was watching a video on MSN yesterday, and they were talking about the fact that in order for millennials to get in the housing game, we need a housing bubble due to sluggish construction, low construction wages, new home starts, et cetera, et cetera. What are your thoughts on that?
That's rubbish. I mean, they've gotten it wrong so for such a long time. Really, look, the media's got an axe to grind, okay?
Yeah.
You never heard the 11 o'clock anchor get on the news and say, man, things are really great. It's always the worst. It's always doom and gloom. So they need a story that they can spin, that they can lie. Then they lie to make it, because they know that the biggest motivator for you to stay tuned is fear.
Yep.
Number one, okay? I mean, look, sex and whatnot is very, very appealing to most people, but fear, that's the number one, okay? But when you have a newscast coming out, they're always going to try and find the negative bias because they want to scare you so they can up ratings. So if we understand that, and that's the underlying tone, then we can filter through that and try and get to the truth of the matter. So, no, millennials are just simply waiting longer. Now, we explore demographics very, very deeply at my company, MBS Highway, and when we look at them, millennials are simply taking longer to get married, so they're waiting longer for that. They're taking longer to have kids, they're waiting longer for that. And then the next progressive step would normally be to get a home.
Right.
They're just waiting longer. It doesn't mean it's going to be like stepbrothers, and they're going to be 40-something years old in mom and dad's house, okay? They're not doing that, okay? So they are going to... they're going to get into the home buying market, and it started. Look, just today we got existing home sales, and first-time home buyers jumped from 30% of the market to 33%. It is happening before our eyes. This trend will continue, and we'll see that strengthen as time goes on.
Excellent. Yeah. Hey, Barry, thanks for calling in. We appreciate the updates, and we'll have to check back in with you in a few months down the line. And I know you're coming to Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater sometime soon, aren't you?
I am. I love it down there. You guys are doing a great job. Curt, thanks for your friendship. You guys are awesome. See you guys soon, man.
Take care, Barry.
Alrighty. All right, that's Barry Habib, mortgage and finance expert, and coming to the Tampa Bay market soon as well. And we'd love to catch up with him when he's back in town. Curt, that'd be cool.
Yeah. We're meeting with him over at Interlinc to discuss his his MBS Highway, which is it watches the mortgage-backed securities and tracks them and stuff like that. It's super interactive. It's a great product, a great program. So
awesome. Good stuff, so that's what we're doing. We're helping you as a consumer out there kind of see and giving that helicopter view of the marketplace. That's what it's all about is, if you can think a layer deeper, you can avoid a lot of these common mistakes and avoid a lot of what I call commission breath out there. There's a lot of commission-based advice floating around. So let's go ahead and bring Jason Avery into the conversation. Avery Construction and author of Constructing Success.
Yeah, I obviously have a up close and personal view of the construction world and going on in housing out there, and I assure you it's not a shortage of pay for the people, but it's a shortage of the talent in the field or the people who are willing to actually get out there and swing a hammer anymore. And that's something that we're finding with the millennials is that they want to be architects, they want to be draftsmen and designers, they don't want to be the labor.
Yeah.
So we're getting out there and trying to speak to schools and speak to children when we have an opportunity and explain, the benefits that become of the trades. And because there's always going to be a demand, and when you excel in your industry, it's a business like anything else, and it wouldn't matter if you're selling widgets. You can build teams, you can build structure, and you can build profits.
Yeah.
So we're trying to share that message. So
what do you think about Barry's comments about just in general? I mean, it was for me, I was, echoing that. It seems like over the last year or two on the show, it's like, what happens is you have these macro numbers, you have these different, either they're writing a column or they're on a news station somewhere talking about, the fear, like the fear mongers, and there's a bubble coming. But when I look at it and I see Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater, we've had all of our local mayors on the show. They all talk about jobs and investment in infrastructure, and we're going to talk about Bob Buckhorn's proposed $906 million Tampa budget soon. But things are great here in Tampa Bay.
Absolutely great here in Tampa Bay. I mean, we're consistently cranking out 20% growth each year over the last 3 years. So it's plenty of opportunity in the field, and a lot of people, not only buying homes but fixing up their existing homes. And as the real estate market did get tough for a little while, and it wasn't as easy to, buy and sell, people decide to stick around and fix it up and stay a while. So, we're seeing lots of growth out there. Definitely finding the talent is the biggest challenge that any of the contractors have, and the only way to do that successfully is to get out there and get networked. And you need to be well known in town and well known for having the opportunity for people. And at Avery Construction, we've got 40 jobs on the books at any given time. There's 12 to 15 in production: kitchen remodels, bathroom remodels, room additions, commercial build outs of people starting new businesses. So definitely we're seeing that the market is on fire. It's hot, and we see though that there's also a lot of struggling contractors out there, which ultimately opened the next business for me. And Constructing Success started as a book, as a concept, and that book hit #1 bestseller in business management, and now it's a viable entity. Now we are coaching other general contractors and other tradesmen how to not only build a business from referrals, from good recommendations, but also how to properly manage cash flow so they don't become what I like to say, cash flow rich while they're profit poor. They might have some money in the bank because they collected some deposits, but they don't have the systems or the processes to see the downline and see what is actually left over at the end of the day when that job's all done. Right. So many of them find themselves in bad situations, robbing from Peter to pay Paul, and it really just comes down to lack of structure, lack of process. You'll find lots of tradesmen are very good technicians, and they're great with the tools and the task and completing the task. But when it comes to the communication and informing the client of every little detail up front or in advance to make a comfortable situation, there's many of them that are lacking. So
I can see that.
Definite need to improve the contractor base here in Tampa Bay so that we can change the name of this industry. Some contractors have given us a bad rap, given us a bad name, and if I have to do it single-handedly, I'm gonna change the impressions of our residents here in Tampa Bay. There are good contractors out there.
Yeah, they're not all. I do that for the realtors out there sometimes.
So. I'm getting out there, getting networked. Definitely BNI, Business Networking International, threw a great event last night, their member extravaganza. It was an awards ceremony for a big invitation drive, but 200 people in the room, lots of other contractors and tradesmen that I was able to connect with, and actually open up some discussions about forming a bit of a remodelers council, per se, where we can start to learn from each other and share resources.
Love it. Also, I want to thank you for bringing Sarah Shirelli into the group as well. She's done an awesome job on the show. Really
great
good content.
Interior designer. And Sarah and I have collaborated on projects, and man, her work's amazing. She does a great job putting together all the colors and the themes.
That's right. Yeah. So you think about the construction, the remodeling, as well as the interior design, they go hand in hand. So, again, another example of over 80 show partners that we have with the Real Estate Quarterback Show and the Consumer Quarterback Show, and we all want to help you win no matter what you're facing out there. So stay with us. The best is yet to come. You're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show, realestateradiotampa.com.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show, hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, Real Estate Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP Realty. This segment is brought to you by Hula Bay. It's the official restaurant partner of the Real Estate Quarterback Show. Wonderful waterfront dining, beautiful waterfront ambiance, great sushi, awesome food, complete menu, located on Tyson Boulevard in South Tampa. It's just south of Gandy, just on the east side of West Shore, and it's down there. Say hello to Mike Finnegan over at Hula Bay. Let him know the Real Estate Quarterback Show. Let him know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you for a free water with lemon. He's going to hook you up every time you go in. Just tell him the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. And also Smart Move Moving and Storage, the official moving partner of the Real Estate Quarterback Show. They do a great job. Say hello to Hannah and her team over at Smart Move Moving and Storage. And before we jump back into this great content, I got a hot Pinellas County property listing here. I want to talk about 13235 Gulf Boulevard, unit number 409 in Madeira Beach. This is a beautiful condominium, condotel, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, listed at $239,000 is the list price for this property. 13235 Gulf Boulevard, number 409. Fabulous 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo, furnished, fully furnished in Madeira Beach. Great buying opportunity. All right, so let's go ahead and back to Jason Avery here. We got Curt Lorden in studio as well. We're going to hear more from Curt, branch manager at Interlinc Mortgage. But let's talk a little bit about your book here. Hold it up for the camera for our listeners, our viewers out there.
Yeah, it's Constructing Success, the blueprints for referral-based business. And it is available out on Amazon.com. It's a download available on Kindle, or you can pick it up on my website, construct-success.com. But it's not a book about construction. It's a book about building a referral-based business.
Yeah.
And it appeals to the business owner, sales manager, just the independent salesperson, where you've got to go out there every day and build relationships with people in order to generate referrals.
That's right.
And those relationships, as they apply to your customer, can be influenced by emotions, and those emotions go up and down throughout the fulfillment of your process, and I call that the customer experience roller coaster. So we like to learn how to get ahead of that game. Like you're playing a game of chess. You need to think 2 moves ahead and understand where the downs are going to come into play and what measures are you going to take so that the customer has a more comfortable experience.
That's right. He's also in our book as well, the Consumer Quarterbacks Playbook here. I'm holding it up to the screen here for the viewers out there. The Real Estate Quarterbacks Consumer Advocate Playbook. He wrote a chapter in here about home construction, remodeling, and things to do, things to avoid, ways that you can live a better life out there. And let's go ahead and bring Curt in the conversation, get some cross conversation here going, some banter. And Curt Lorden, he's the branch manager over at Interlinc Mortgage, and I think with Jason in studio, good topic would be those 203K loans, those renovation type loans programs that are out there. Yeah,
but before we get into that, Jason made a comment about lack of talent, and made me think. I wonder if I'm assuming that's probably a byproduct of the housing crash. Everyone lost their jobs, and they maybe are too afraid to get back into the game. They're doing something else. Maybe they're doing auto finance or whatnot. And what are your thoughts on that?
I would agree. When things crashed, the new construction market is what really crashed, and the remodeling world didn't waver a whole lot. And again, because people were stuck in their home, and the people who have money still have money when the market's down.
Right.
So those people again decide to stay and fix it up. So what happens is a lot of those new construction people now jump into the remodeling space, and so you've just got a crowded arena you're in. So we just have to figure out how to trim a little fat, work a little smarter, work a little harder, and stay top of our game. And then over a period of so many months, a lot of those guys fall out because there's just not enough for everybody to go around.
Right.
But the true powerhouses in the remodeling world stayed pretty true over
Cream
that time.
rises to the top.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, our industry got lucky. They just put a bunch of regulations on that eliminated half of our people in our industry.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I mean, back on the 203K and the home style renovation programs, Brandon and I talk all the time about this lack of inventory, and what's left on the market that's been sitting is essentially a house that is garbage. So we're trying to educate our real estate agents to go in with a vision, take these clients in and say, okay, look, you're looking for a 3-2, but all there are out there is just a 3-1. What if we add a bathroom, and utilize these types of programs to build your dream home if you can't go out and buy your, buy your dream home?
So it's really important to involve the 203K inspectors right up front, and because these are typically government regulated programs, they have to meet all the minimum standards of HUD, and getting these people involved early, even before the contractor, is a big advantage to the consumer, because the consumer often has a wish list of all the things that they want done with the home, to have the perfect kitchen, the perfect bathrooms, the flooring, and et cetera. But the HUD inspector, he's got a different set of standards he's going for first. Does it have a good solid roof? Does it have a good working air conditioner? Do we have hot running water? Is there any major deterioration or rot in the building that needs to be addressed first? And then of course these loans may offer only certain allowances. So the most popular is 35K or under of home improvement value, and even on 31K, you have to reserve some contingency, so you really only have about 31 to spend. And so people tend to try and get 10 pounds of stuff in a 5-pound bag, but if you get the inspector involved early, they'll do what they call a feasibility report, and they'll give you the list of all the necessary items first, and then you can decide based on that. He'll give you some values, what he approximates them to be worth, and then you can now sort out what you have left over to work with and what other improvements you'd like to make. And so for some of those homes, this is a really great thing. For some of those first-time home buyers, this is a really great thing when you can connect the two together.
Well, one of the things that I, reading through guidelines, and things change constantly, is that you can actually do a 203K or home sale, and as long as you keep some of the existing foundation, and they quote some, you can actually rebuild an entire house.
And that would be what they call the full-blown version. So the under 35Ks are streamlined, and then when we get into the full-blown, the streamline would actually restrict you from doing anything that's structural related, and it has a few other limitations. But in the full-blown loans, you can accomplish quite a bit.
And it's super easy for the clients. I mean, we have an entire renovation department that handles everything for them, and it's a just streamlined process. They just have to figure out what they want.
I'll tell you, for the consumer, it's very important to pick the contractor very carefully, because in these types of programs, there's a little bit of a delay in the cash flow, because every time you're ready for the next draw, we have to process it through the bank and allow that to happen so the money can be received. And a larger contractor who's has a bankroll can handle that and absorb some of that delay. But if it's the general contractor doing 1 or 2 projects at a time, and that delay could disrupt everything in their business. They might not be able to get the materials they need to move on to the next step. So, definitely do some background and make sure the cheapest price is not always the best way to go in that scenario.
And don't go the cheapest with your house. It's your home.
Yeah, exactly. And that's Curt Lorden. He's a branch manager at Interlinc Mortgage. We're talking with Jason Avery as well, Avery Construction and Remodeling. And what we just described there, that process for you to break it down, is that's the 203K loan, the renovation types of loans. Fannie Mae has a product as well. It's a Home Style, I believe, is the name of that one. And so we talk about this lack of inventory that's out there. So this is a great product for you as a home buyer. If you're frustrated in the process, you've been looking at home after home, and then what happens is you put that offer in and you get your hopes up, and then oh no, it's sold. So if you're not able to offer close to list price or even above list price in some cases, depending on especially like South Tampa, when something new hits the market, a hot area like Oldsmar, maybe even these properties are going to go, and you're going to have that frustration. So this kind of allows you to open up your eyes a little bit more, Curt, as a buyer, and say, hey, let's think about the potential of this property.
Yeah, and a lot of people, I'm guilty of this. I have no vision. When I walk into a house, it has to be perfect, or going in with that idea of I can move walls, I can add a bathroom, I can add a bedroom, I can change the hardwood floor. Go in the houses that you really, really like. Take a mental snapshot of what you enjoy of this, $300,000 house, and just move it over to this $150,000 house and just put it in. It's important that your agent also has some sort of a vision and talks you through it. Right. Get you to open your eyes and think bigger picture, not just look at the concrete walls or the water stain on the roof or anything like that.
That's right, yeah, and it's and doing your research up front as well, and kind of like Curt and I talk a lot about, is having your CPA talk to your mortgage advisor, talk to your financial advisor, talking to your potential home remodeling contractor. There's a lot of things that you can do on the front end to avoid a lot of unnecessary stress. So Jay,
And I've brought this point up before here on your show, Brandon, is about we have a lot of waterfront property here in the Tampa Bay area. So, as you're out there seeking this home that you're going to purchase and you're thinking about all the improvements you want to do, understand that FEMA plays a big hand in things. And if you're in a flood zone, FEMA will restrict the improvements on the home up to 50% of the value of the structure.
Right.
And so even though the might be a $500,000 overall piece of real estate, maybe $350,000 of that is the value of the land, and $150,000 or less is the value of the structure, and so then you're limited to 50% of that value.
Of that value, so 75 in that example.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you understand that going in, you may not be able to just gut the whole place and start all over again.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so this is why you want to talk to a licensed contractor in advance and know what you're getting into.
Yeah, absolutely. So Bob Buckhorn proposes $906 million Tampa budget, and more from our expert contributors here in studio, Jason Avery, Avery Construction, author of Constructing Success, as well as Curt Lorden, branch manager at Interlinc Mortgage. So stay with us. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back. RealestateRadioTampa.com.
Enjoy tranquil seclusion in an eco-lover's paradise. Paddling through the mangroves where the only sounds you'll hear are the sounds of nature. Because you deserve to relax on vacation, visit Pasco County, Florida.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, Real Estate Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP Realty. This segment is brought to you by Greg Geyer over at Printing Solutions, Inc. and digitalprintingsource.com. Give a shout out to Greg. He does a great job printing a lot of our postcard flyers, business cards, pop-up banners, all types of products that you might need for your business. Give a shout out to Greg Geyer, Printing Solutions, Inc., digitalprintingsource.com. And we're back here in studio live from iHeartRadio, Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. It's your most important hour on the radio. Sundays at 7 a.m. as well on 102.5 The Bone on the FM dial. And we are talking about ways that you can live a better life, helping you think a layer deeper when it comes to construction and remodeling, as well as your mortgage and finance advice. And before we jump back into this great content, I got a hot listing here in Beach Park. It's 4618 West Beach Park Drive, Tampa, 33609. 4 bedrooms, 3 full bath, 1 half bath, beautifully upgraded and completely remodeled home, pool home as well, over 2,556 square feet, listed at $799,000. One of the lowest dollar per square footage prices of properties that you'll find. 4618 West Beach Park Drive in Tampa. A great buying opportunity, so please visit our website, realestateradiotampa.com, as well as our hotline is 813-917-1894.
Welcome to my house.
All right, Bob Buckhorn proposes $906 million Tampa budget. Thanks to a fourth straight year of rising property values, Mayor Bob Buckhorn on Thursday proposed a $905.9 million city budget for 2017 that does not tip into city reserves. The budget would raise property tax bills in Tampa. Taxable property values are expected to rise nearly 8% in the coming year, so keeping the tax rate as Buckhorn plans to do would generate more in property tax revenues. A tax increase would not hit homeowners who are shielded from big increases in their tax assessments by Florida's Save Our Homes constitutional amendment. So I just want to open that up to general conversation as well. Curt, what's your take on that?
Wait, did he say he's going to raise the property taxes by 8%?
Budget would raise property tax bills in Tampa. Tampa property values are expected to rise nearly 8% in the coming year. So that's the property values. Tampa taxable property values are expected to rise.
Oh, okay. So he didn't actually say what he's going to raise the tax rate to.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, with our market the way it is, we have, property taxes are going to increase. Your tax bill is going to increase. So just keep that in mind, and you might want to do a refinance. Don't shy away from buying a home because your property taxes are going to go up. Just make sure you align yourself with a strong insurance agent to make sure you're getting the best homeowners insurance, and just plan for it. I mean, things go up.
It also goes on to say how the most high-profile construction project is the $35.5 million redevelopment of Julian B. Lane Riverfront Park. The budget is included in that, as well as some other fire station number 23 in New Tampa, $1 million for road resurfacing, $5.4 million for road resurfacing, $4.5 million to rehabilitate the Broreen Street Bridge. So interesting, it's investment in infrastructure. That's what we need in Tampa Bay, and we've got the budget to do it. So I'm just hoping they keep stuff in reserves for when, like what Barry was saying in that first segment. We know things are going to happen. There's going to be stuff happening, and we got to keep some money in reserve so it's not scramble like we did last time. There's a lot of scrambling. Remember that? A lot of fire departments, a lot of teachers, a lot of the public arenas were getting cut because of what happened with the meltdown. So I don't think we're going to have that as big of a meltdown potentially, but there could be some recession type activities.
Yeah, and I mean, always keep in mind, we don't have a state income tax, so be thankful for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Think about it. If the property taxes go up 10%, that means on a $4,000 tax bill, your payment's going to go up like $28 a month.
Yeah.
So it's not much at all when you look at the big picture.
Very nominal. All right, we're going to enter our lightning round. All right, top consumer tips, things to do, things to avoid. Jason Avery, you're up first, sir.
Hire a licensed contractor. Do your homework. Check out the Department of Business and Professional Regulation. Check out the state's website and make sure these are valid corporations. Make sure these people have valid licenses. They're not expired. And double check their insurances. Make sure you've got not only general liability insurance but also workman's comp. That's where people get really taken over when somebody has that unforeseen accident and now they can't work the rest of their life.
Yeah. When you do that, do you ask them to give you a copy of it? I mean, are you
absolutely. Not only can you request a copy of the policy in general for work comp, but you can ask for a list of each of the employees who are actually included under that policy.
Right.
And what we find in our industry is that a lot of contractors are doing things more under the radar. They call somebody an independent contractor and put them on a 1099. There's no employer taxes being paid. There's no insurance on that person. And then it's no problem until a disaster happens. And then a good lawyer is going to be knocking on your door, and that's no longer a 1099. That was a employee. The contractor is going to be shafted, but if there's no money to take from the contractor, they're coming after the homeowner and the homeowner's insurance policy as well. So,
a lot to consider when you're doing these home remodeling contracts, and back to your other point too of the waterfront. You walk into these beautiful waterfront properties, and the first thing you see is a coat closet right in the way. Knocking them down.
We knock those down all the time, and here's how the way to gauge it. If your home is older than 1965, and it's older than conventional trusses, and so there's a good chance that walls in the home may be load bearing, and doesn't mean they can't be removed, but it means you're going to need some engineering and documentation to show how you're going to redisperse the load.
Right.
And but after 1965, when you have conventional trusses, most all the weight sits on the exterior walls of the home, unless there's some major transition in the roof line, and you can pretty much knock most interior walls down.
Good point. Curt?
Well, if you own a home currently, look into refinancing. Last week I talked about how equity gained a little over $260 billion nationwide. And, Barry just talked about the appreciation that we have in Tampa, the job growth. I don't care if you have debt or not. Look at refinancing. Some of the benefits are, with the equity, eliminating mortgage insurance, shortening your term to have your debt elimination date tie in with your retirement, consolidate some debt to eliminate some of the money that you're spending every single month and actually put it into savings. So, if you have a mortgage, look into refinancing. Rates are at an all-time low. Take some money out, put it in the market and invest, and now your assets are outgaining your liabilities.
Yeah, let's do this also for our listeners out there. We want to do this offer called a rent versus own analysis. So if you're a renter and you're out there on the fence and you're thinking about, hey, could I qualify? Would I qualify? Potentially, we would love to talk to you. We'd love to get you in touch with Curt and his team over at Interlinc Mortgage, and we're going to put together for you what's called a rent versus own analysis. So what it is, it's straightforward, straight numbers to you. There's a spreadsheet on both sides. You've got on this side, you're going to see what you're currently paying, paying your landlord's mortgage. You're not building up any equity. You're not taking advantage of principal pay down. You're not taking advantage of taxable growth or tax write-offs. And then on the other side, you'll have, a new 30-year mortgage at a low rate. You are taking advantage of the principal reduction. You're taking advantage of the appreciation year over year. Plus, you have the home ownership pride, and you're able to leave a better legacy for your family. So let's do this rent versus own analysis. All you have to do is text the word rent and the amount of rent that you're paying to our consumer advocate hotline. It's 813-917-1894. Text rent and the amount of rent that you're paying for a free rent versus own analysis to 813-917-1894. Curt and his team will set you up with that free rent versus own analysis. Go ahead, Jay.
Brandon, just a quick announcement. So if anybody wants to meet me personally, I am going to be doing a book signing at Barnes & Noble on US 19 and Sunset Point in Clearwater, and that'll be on August 31st at 7 p.m.
Cool. August 31st, 7 p.m., Barnes & Noble, Clearwater.
US 19 and Sunset Point.
US 19, Sunset Point. Go out and say hello to Jason Avery. Talk to him about maybe an upcoming job that you're considering. He'd love to do a quote for you. He's got an awesome team over there. Can quote these out for you. And that's another point too, Jason, is that when you go meet a client, you're going to give them instant feedback, virtually instant feedback, whereas a lot of other contractors can be 2 weeks waiting on to get a.
That's been one of my policies since day one, a same day estimating, and we can't necessarily tell somebody to the exact penny on the very first visit we meet them, but we can certainly tell them within a pretty tight range what it's going to be. So we just created a little brainstorming worksheet that spells out what all our trades might be. And now we're going to go through and talk about them one at a time and put some parameters to those prices. We know within reason what it should cost, and Beautiful. So by the end of the day one, they get an estimate. No waiting weeks to find out what it might cost.
Awesome, Avery Construction. Curt, we got about 30 seconds left. Parting words of advice.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a mortgage, make one extra payment a year, or enter in a biweekly payment program that'll actually knock 8 years off of your 30-year mortgage. Knock about 6 off of a 20 and 3 off of a 15. It just ends up building your equity about 125% faster.
And I want to give a shout out and a back to school charity event on 7:30. It's going to be at the owner's Lana's Entrees restaurant in West Tampa, 2139 West Main Street. They're collecting school supplies for families who would not otherwise be able to afford them. The second year that she's done this last year she provided supplies to 300 children, and this year she's projecting to help 300. And again, that's on 7:30. The actual event is Saturday, July 30th, 12 to 4, when the children will come in and pick out their supplies. A community event, come one, come all. Food, different activities, and giveaways. And it's a great opportunity. Lana's Entrees Restaurant, West Tampa, 2139 West Main Street. That's our public service announcement for today. And we want to thank all of our listeners out there, our production team, everyone behind the scenes. Thank you to Jason Avery, owner of Avery Construction and author of Constructing Success, as well as Curt Lorden, the branch manager of Interlinc Mortgage, and Barry Habib, who called in on the show. So please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. We'll see you next time.